Thanks.
All right, welcome to the video on how to set up basic automations, or as they're called in FIeldpoint, workflow escalations. They're basically just like a Zapier. It's an if-then statement, or a cause and effect, trigger, then action. Something occurs to trigger something else, and that's what we're going to go through. And by the way, this information is already written up in pretty good detail within the wiki. If you search for FIeldpoint automations, or sorry, FIeldpoint administration, it'll bring you to this section and a whole lot more. So part 5 is the part we're looking at right now, and I will go ahead and get started. So we log into FIeldpoint. The section that we're concerned with right now is called workflow escalations. Okay. Now, the scenario that I'm working on right now is customer wants an automatic email when a tech checks in or when a tech checks out. One of those two scenarios. You could also set up an automation where they get an email where anything happens, where a certain field changes, or maybe when every time a ticket is incomplete, they get an email, or maybe every time there's parts that were used, they get an email. But any field within the ticket, and when I say field, I mean any one of those boxes, you can set as a trigger where when something happens in that box, it sends an email. Okay, so there's two sections that we might be working in. One of them is called incident, one of them is called incident EXT. This is based on the trigger and what that field name is. So let me show you what I mean by that. We've got our ticket here. As you'll see, some fields say user text, like our dashboard field here. Some say extension user text. Whatever the trigger is, whatever field is causing the dominoes to start moving, that's going to result in the email. If it's a user text, we're going to go to incident. If it's an EXT, we're going to go to incident EXT. So in this first case, we're looking at, let's say, when texts check out. And the way we're going to trigger that is when our dashboard changes to release complete or released incomplete. Okay, so that's a user text field. Therefore, we're going to go in the incident section. And I always recommend finding one that's close to what you want and copying it. It's always going to be your best bet here. So we got a CNG checkout, we got dental care checkout, craft, let's see an example, customer checkout. All of these are great starting points. Let's grab the CNG one. And let's just go through the if-then portion of this. So in this particular case, the test field, that's the field that's triggering what's going to happen. When it changes from any value to released complete. So when a tech finishes the job, in other words. And when the company code is CNG. This also excludes a particular project. I guess they wanted that project handled a different way. So that's the trigger. What's the action? So this is the cause. What's the effect? It's an email gets sent. That email gets sent to their help desk and copies our sales rep. And it basically says TST 234128 for CNG Las Vegas. And then it's got their ticket number. It's got their store number. So let's say store 102, checking out. Hello from TST. We would like to let you know that our technician has finished up at CNG Las Vegas for cable run for back office PC. Task completed today. And then it would say something like, ran a cable, got it tested, everything else. Remaining issues, if there are issues, it'll list them there. And a technician should be calling you momentarily to check out. It also provides a link to the portal where they can see additional information in the ticket. All right, so that's a pretty good starting point. I like it. Let's copy it. So go back to our starting point here. We're going to add by clicking this plus sign. And we're going to copy that first page. It's a lot easier with two monitors. I'm going to do my best here to manage. All right, we'll say this one is for, let's say for TST. So TST checkout. I put the same thing on the description line. The view name, don't worry about what it is, just copy what's there. Same thing with test field. We're going to copy it. And everything else we're going to copy. And the only thing we're going to change is that. We're going to change the company code. All right, we have just completed the trigger, or the cause, the if part of the equation. Now the then, the effect, the action. So click the plus sign down here, and same deal. We're going to copy from the one that we know is close. All right, so TST checkout, action, send a message, recipient number 1. If you want to define a particular group of people, let's say there's 4 people over there at this customer that want emails, we can do that kind of like we did here for CNG, or we can send it to whoever the technical contact is. That's usually the more common request, so let's do that. So if we want to send it to the technical contact, incident technical contact, boom. All right, so let's just copy everything else, and then we'll change it as we need to in a second. All right, let's see over on the right side, 0, and that's it. Okay, now let's make whatever changes we need. Okay, so TST and then the incident number, we want that. For customer name, customer name is the field. It's in the ticket down by the oversight area right here, site name. So it's what the business is being called to the local level. It's got usually the company name and the city and state. So I like to use that one for this part. So TST, in this case, it would say TST 284-509 for Pilot Patterson, CA. Now, there's an important question you need to ask yourself before you do the next step. Does this customer use client ticket number, and does this customer use site code? In this case, they're one and the same, meaning they don't provide us a ticket number, so we just use the site code. If they don't provide us either one, then I would probably put the city. But if they provide us a site code but not a ticket number, or a ticket number and the site code says something like Las Vegas NV, that's a TST created one. Usually if a customer's providing a site code, it's almost always numeric. If TST is creating the site code, it's almost always city and then state. Let me see if I can find a quick example here without looking too far. Sorry, bear with me 1 second. Okay, I don't have one at my fingertips, but there are a million of them out there. You would see a site code here, it would be like Syracuse NY or Miami FL. Those are ones that TST created. Okay, in this case, customer uses site codes. They don't appear to use client ticket number. So I'm not going to be redundant. I'm not going to put the client ticket number and the site code. This, by the way, is client ticket number. If you don't know those, which most people don't know those fields off the top of their head, if you go into design mode, all of the proper database field names are there. So you just scroll down to the field you want and look what it's technically called, look what the database calls it. Okay, so let me get back to our thing here. Bear with me 1 second. I was just seeing if I had a ticket open where I could show you the proper database names. Oh well. Anyway, so we've got TST 234125 for CNG Las Vegas _. Now, since we don't need the ticket number, they don't use ticket number, let's skip right to the store number. If it's not a store, call it site. If it's a restaurant, call it restaurant. You can always get away with site number or even just number or CNG number. But you know, you don't want to call it a store if it's something other than that. Be careful about that. In this case, I believe Check and Go, I believe they would call it stores. I don't know. Yeah, maybe they call it branch. So let's change it to branch. So branch number, then the address code _ checking out. if they use their ticket number, let's say we looked at their ticket and the ticket number was 234-128 and the site was 104. Well, those are both unique values. Then it would keep them both in there. I would have address code and ticket number. Okay, so by the way, here's the design form of the ticket. If I don't know what a particular field is called, I would scroll down, look at that field. Okay, in this case, client ticket is user text 4. All right, anywhere you see the brackets, it's kind of like Mad Libs. It's fill in the blank with that value. It will insert the value instead of the field name. Okay, so we would like to let you know that our technician has finished up at CNG Las Vegas for job description, run a cable or whatever it's called. Tasks completed today. Okay, we want that. Remaining issues. Okay, we want that. I like everything here, so looks good to me. Unless Tiffany's got something that she wants to see differently. Oh, you know what I forgot actually? We're doing this for TST, not for CNG. So I've been giving you CNG as an example, but that doesn't really matter. So for TST, we don't really have branches or stores. Why don't we change it to site number? Okay, and then we save. I always recommend for the first couple of days, put your email here as one of the recipients. That way you can see all the messages coming through and make sure you like it. In order to do that, if you're not already set up as a recipient, in other words, if you go into the magnifying glass and you don't see yourself, then we need to add as a recipient before we can do this next part. So let's pretend my email wasn't there. Okay, I'm going to go back to FIeldpoint if I can find it here. Sorry, I got a million windows open. Okay, I'm going to go to Workflow Recipients. So if I was designating a new group of a customer, to receive an email, or if I want to add myself, or I bet you Bonnie's not in here yet. Let's add her. Tiffany, could you glit me Bonnie's email address? So we're going to add Bonnie, just like we do the other reps. I guess technically she's account manager, but I'm not sure if we distinct. Oh, we do actually provide the difference. Okay, so we're going to create one for her, and we're going to model after, how about Tiffany's? Okay, so we start off with the departmental code, then her initials, and let me get Bonnie's email over here. There we go. And everything else, just like the others, we're just going to copy.
I accidentally I put a Y in her email. Sorry about that, Kevin.
Oh, it's okay. I'll fix it in a second. MASI? Is this?
No, I put at Techie Service today.
Oh, sorry. Is everything else right though?
Yes.
Okay, good. So that's it. We save, and then once I've done that, I'm going to be able to choose her in my options for this particular automation. I'm going to be able to select her as an option for sending that. So let's go back to our TST checkout should be on the list. If I remember to save it, which I don't remember if I did. Oh boy. There it is. Okay. So all I need to do is go into where the message is being drafted, and she should be in the options. There she is. Select and save. Now, it's a good idea to do that. Even if you don't want to receive these messages permanently, do it for the first couple of days. Make sure there's no big goof in the way the message is coming through. And that's it. If you wanted to test this, all you would need to do is simulate the trigger. And the trigger is the dashboard field changing from any value to released incomplete. Okay, so that's the demo for how to set up an automated email to a customer when a tech checks out. The instructions are written out in the wiki if you search for FIeldpoint administration, and I will also post this video up there as well. Any questions, you're welcome to call me at extension 661, and thank you very much.